Okay, today we're expounding upon the multiplication a little bit, and we're going to be multiplying mixed numbers. So really the process here is exactly the same. The only difference is that we're going to be doing one step early in the process, and then we're going to do everything that we did the other day. So most of this is all going to be the exact same thing. There's just really one difference here. So let's take a look at what that difference is. The only difference here that we're looking at is that we have to write the mixed number as an improper fraction first. Then we multiply it just like fractions. Everything else will be exactly the same. So when we multiply those mixed numbers, all you need to do is convert it to an improper fraction, multiply straight across, simplify, and reduce. So let's take a look at how we can do this. So first, 1/4 is normal, so we can rewrite that one. 4 and 4/5, we need to rewrite as an improper fraction. So 4 times 5 gives me 20, plus 4 gives me 24 out of 5. Now I want to re-show you guys how to do that simplifying early on, so you don't have to multiply these big numbers when we get here in a second. Remember, if the numbers are crossed from one another, so 24 and 4 are both divisible by 4. So I can say 24 divided by 4 gives me 6, and 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. Now I multiply straight across. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 5 is 5. So my answer is 6/5 or 1 1/5, either way. So again, when you're simplifying before, all you do is you want to take one number from the top and one from the bottom, and they both have to be divisible by the same thing. So here it was 4, 24 divided by 4 is 6, 4 divided by 4 is 1. So let's go ahead and try this again. 2/3 will remain the same. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5/2. Again, 2 and 2 are both divisible by 2. So I can reduce this to 1 and reduce this to 1, and now I multiply straight across. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 1 is 3. So it's 5/3 or 1 2/3. The process of multiplying is still the same. Multiply straight across. Now, let's say for instance you didn't want to do that. Let's say you didn't want to simplify first. If you don't simplify first, you're still going to get the same answer. We have 2/3 times 5/2, same thing. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6. But now you have to simplify. Don't leave it here. You must simplify. A lot of you are forgetting to do that on your homework. Make sure you simplify. Divide them both by 2. 5/3. Same thing we had before. So either way is going to give you the same answer. Let's go ahead and do one more. Now these are both mixed numbers, so this time we're going to have to simplify or rewrite both of them. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so we have 7/2. Times 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so we have 10/3. Again, I can cross-reduce before, I can reduce afterwards. If I cross-reduce now, I can divide this by 2 and this by 2, and I now have new numbers. 7 times 5 is 35. 1 times 3 is 3, so it's 35/3 or 11 2/3. Again, let me do it the same thing, but without reducing first, and show you that you're going to get the same answer. Again, we had that 7/2 times 10/3. 7 times 10 is 70. 2 times 3 is 6. I have to reduce this. They're both divisible by 2. So I get 35/3. And again, that was the same thing that we had before with 11 2/3. So you're getting the same answers either way. I would like it if you guys can start to try to cross-reduce these by dividing one number from the bottom and one from the top by the same number. They have to be divisible by the same number. That's all you're doing. Just like you would simplify, that's all you're doing. So let's go ahead and take a look at doing some of these algebra ones. Here all we're doing is substituting in, otherwise it's the same exact thing. So we have C times D, where C is 1 7/8. times d, which is 3 1/3. Again, make them both improper fractions. So 8 times 1 is 8, plus 7 is 15/8. Times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So plus 10/3. Now again, this is where it starts to get tricky, because we're going to have bigger numbers here, which is why if you can't cross-reduce, you want to try. So let me rewrite this over here. We have 15/8 times 10/3. 8 and 10 are both divisible by 2. So when I divide it by 2, I get 4. When I divide this by 2, I get 5. So my new numbers are 5 and 4. These are both divisible by 3. So here I get 1, divide this by 3, and I get 5. So the new numbers I'm multiplying are 5 times 5 is 25, and 4 times 1 is 4. So now this is going to give us 8 and 1/4. And that's all that's to it. Let's try it again. A times B. So we have 3 1/5 times 2 3/4. Again, make them mixed numbers, or improper fractions. So 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16/5. Times 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11. 11 and 5 will not reduce, but 4 and 16 can. Divide this by 4 and I get 1. Divide this by 4 and I get 4. 4 times 11 is 44. 5 times 1 is 5. You can reduce that out and we get 8 4/5. So again, doing that reduction early helps you so you're not dealing with such big numbers, because this would have been 150 over 24, which then you have to reduce, and it takes a lot of reduction afterwards. So if you can recognize this early, it's going to save you a lot of time. Alright, one last one is the word problem. So this question asks, it says, the Hoover Dam contains 4.5 million cubic yards of concrete. The Grand Coulee Dam in Washington State contains 2 2/3 times as much concrete. How much concrete does it contain? So we have 4.5 million for the Hoover Dam, and we have the Grand Coulee Dam has 2 2/3 times as much. So this is the important information here. So we're obviously multiplying. So we're going to take 4.5 times 2 2/3. So when I multiply this again, to improper fractions, so 8 times 4 is 2, plus 1 is 9/2, times 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, over 3. I'm going to reduce, divide this by 2 and I get 1, divide this by 2 and I get 4, divide this by 3 and I get 1, divide this by 3 and I get 3. 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times 1 is 1, so I get 12. And again, it's in million, make sure you label, million cubic yards. Again, if you didn't want to reduce, you would have had 9/2 times 8/3. So 9 times 8 is 72. 2 times 3 is 6. You can divide these both by 6 and you still get 12 over 1, which is the same thing. So you're getting the same answers, we're just doing it a little differently. And again, that main piece in the beginning is rewriting those as an improper fraction first. So here's your homework that you'll be doing tomorrow in class. Again, I will not be there, so you want to make sure that you have your books and things with you. Write that down in your planner so you know what it is. 6 through 36, all of them. There are some word problems in there, some table work that you're working with tables and things, as well as just some straight practice. And there's also some algebra ones in there. So there's a whole array of things in there because you guys are finishing early, so I gave you some more problems tomorrow to keep you busy.